Toto and I are back on the porch for our summer Stillness series, and this week we're talking about the stillness stealer, grief and loss. And we've all experienced loss in our lives. And I thought I would share a little bit about my story. So the hardest loss I've endured was the loss of my best friend to suicide right after Nate was born. And I just remember being in the shower and my tears would be coming down. I didn't know what was the water and what was my tears. And that was just a very difficult, unexpected loss. And I've also lost one of my brothers and my father. And a really significant loss in my life was my marriage through divorce over 20 years ago. And what I learned is that loss is multi-layered. I didn't only lose my spouse, I lost my family unit that was together. I lost my future dream of happily ever after. There's just so many layers of loss. And one of the most valuable lessons that I learned came when I was a chaplain doing a rotation for my seminary studies. And I was on call in the hospital, and I had this great book, Living with Loss, with me. And I flipped to the chapter called Feeling the Pain. And I realized as I was reading these pages that tears just started flowing because I realized that I had not really stopped to feel the pain of the loss in my life. And I think I'm the kind of person that I just keep going. You know, when we divorced, the kids were little, so I just kept going. I tried to be strong, and I know there are others out there like me where you try to be the strong one. But it's very helpful, I think, to stop, to feel the pain. It really is a sign that you've really loved, that you have lost, and it hurts. And it was a cleansing process for me. And there's a great biblical example with Jesus, with two words. Jesus wept. And we find it in John chapter 11, the story of the death of Lazarus, and how when he saw Mary and the others mourning, Jesus wept. And so we have permission. We should weep. We should feel the pain of that loss. But we should also know that someday, through the grieving process, that there may be an opportunity to help somebody through our loss, through our pain, and that sometimes our scars may be part of our story and part of our witness. And I just remember the story of Jesus showing Thomas his scars, where the nails were put through his hands. And that helped Thomas believe, because Thomas said, I will not believe until I put my finger in the place where in his hands. And so that's what Jesus did. He used his scars as his witness. So in time, that may be your story. But now, through your loss, it's time to take time to give yourself permission to grieve, to cry it out, to do whatever you need to do, to call a friend, to help you work through this difficult time. And maybe you've stuffed it down, and maybe now is the time to feel the pain. I had it happen to me out of the blue in a hospital one day. Thankfully, I was on call and no one called. So anyway, I hope this is an encouragement to you as we continue our series on the summer of stillness, to be still and to not let grief and loss overcome us and steal our stillness, to work through the grieving process, to give ourselves permission to grieve. So take care. I hope you have a good week. Bye-bye.
Be still and know that I am God.